Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Wannabe Show. My name is Sooraj, and if you're watching me for the first time, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. So on the 8th episode of the Wannabe Show, we are going to be talking about education system. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can listen to the audio version on all major audio platforms. The links are in the description, so check that out. Before we get into the podcast, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications for the coming episodes. So let's talk about education system, and I have a special guest on the show. So guys, meet Chandan Pratik. He's a researcher, musician, YouTuber, podcaster and much more. You can follow him on Instagram and listen to his podcast. I will leave all the links in the description. So what is up, man? How are you?
Hey Sooraj, hi. Everything is fine, man. Everything is good. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, by the way.
So what are you up to these days? What are your plans? What are you doing?
Yeah. So as of now, right after the quarantine, I felt there is a lot of gap between to have someone to talk with, and it's not a point of depression or something like that. It's all about the way of communicating with people, and that is exactly where my latest venture or the project, whatever you call it. So the podcast, the name of the podcast is High on Tranquility. It's available on almost all the streaming platforms. Yeah. So the main reason behind the podcast is to create a platform to just project emotions and ideas. It's nothing like 2M thoughts and all the kind of stuff which is available on Instagram, but it's not at all like that. It's something way different.
Right.
Yeah. And there are a couple more that I've been working on.
So how many episodes did you put up on?
So as of now,
podcast?
there are 5 episodes. So there are technically 2 more episodes that will be coming within a few weeks. So that's it. Season 1 of High on Tranquility. And season 2 is coming way sooner. Yeah.
So do you release all the episodes at once, or do you release it every week?
No. I generally record all the episodes to a particular point of time and then schedule them on a weekly basis.
Right. So today we're going to be talking about education system.
All right.
So are you a good student, like from childhood?
So when it comes to the term of a student being good or bad, I believe every single person is a good student. It's just the perception of a person who is studying is what gonna matter. Let's say a very simple example. In the terms of regular societal idea of a student, a person who scores good score is comparatively greater when compared to another person who scores less. It's not really how it works.
Yeah.
Let's say, ladies and gentlemen, this is 2020 where every single thing is different. Perception is different from reality. Well, that's exactly where it's all about the way a person completely perceives it. Like, if a child pursues something with his interest, that is all what is gonna matter. Yeah, that's like the opening statement, man, for education system. So one of the primal reasons why I wanted to start the podcast is that there are a few bunch of ideas that I wanted to project out. Out of them, education system is one. So that's exactly the reason why I made an episode with a friend of mine called Manish Kumar. He's a very good guy. Like he is a lot of into economics and political science, etc. He's from Hyderabad itself. Yeah. So we did record a podcast. It's like technically the first episode, but it never ever came out. Maybe we may release it. Yeah, let's see what's gonna happen. So there's a lot of frustration, man. I mean, it's not about frustration. It's about everything regarding education system. Yeah.
How was your experience, like whole learning experience? Was it really learning?
Indeed, yes, it is learning to a particular extent. We can't just say that it's 100% of learning because when it comes to the point where I have pursued my basic studies, that let's say I'm from Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh, but now I'm living in Bangalore because of my university. For all those who are listening to this podcast, hello audience. I am presently pursuing my business studies from Christ University, Bangalore. So I did all of my schooling until class 10. Until class 10, I was in a pure CBSE board. And after that, I got into a state board. because of lack of good colleges in Vijayawada at the time when I was studying. It's not like ages ago, it's just like 2 years ago. And still, there are no good colleges, man. I mean, education system sucks is one common line which every single person would be listening. But it's not education which sucks, it's the system which sucks. Let me be straight. 10 years of continuous education system, that is from, let's say, from class 1 to class 10, there is this one particular emotion that has been deeply driven me to a point where I was in class 10. So that is exactly the time where my interest towards pure sciences has been dwelling. But that is exactly when I got into a state board system school, which hasn't been really good. I mean, it's not about the grades and all. They have been fine, and more importantly, they have been better compared to the CBSE school that I've scored back then. But the outcome which I was looking at is really bad. Okay, one reason why it's really bad is because of the way it's been taught. It's not that the school which I went has taught me in that particular way. It's about the textbook that is made. It's about the blood which is behind this state board education system. I mean, I really hate it, man. I really hate it. I do really hate it.
Yeah. So when somebody talks about the faults in the education system, people say like, just because you're not a good student doesn't mean the whole system is bad. But my point is, the education system is meant to nurture everybody equally. Like it is supposed to be created in such a way that every student should be able to make them learn, right? That's the whole purpose.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think about
Yeah, I
it?
agree with that. But so this question is typically based upon the system that we are trapped in. Let's say.
Yeah.
So these are those days where people are asked to sit in straight lines, nice and neat. Raise your hand if you want to speak. It's not like that. It's something way beyond. It's especially where every person has to get his own experience. If a stand-up comedian cracks a dark joke, there are 100 different ways of perceiving the same joke in 100 different manners, in 100 different minds. So every single person experiences the joke in a different manner. So that is exactly where individuality comes into place. So individuality for education system is something which is bad, let's say. But if a person is really into the outcome, let's say the real meaning behind the education system that we are right now in, one person who is like super responsible for that is educational institutions. So that is technically the reason why there is this so-called difference between the front benches and the back benches, because of the lack of acceptance of that particular ideology that the teacher or the institution is being possessing. But more importantly, hands-on experience is something which is a complete revolutionary thing, where a simple example, in a class of 50 students, the front 20 people would be like 80% into the subject what a teacher is teaching about. What about the remaining 80%? What's going to happen to them? So the majority is all about what they feel. It's all about how they experience that particular emotion. So that is exactly where experience plays a very prominent role. So I'm so thankful to the national education policy, because it is something which is being developed. I mean, it's something which is being inculcated in the upcoming, the future education system that the country is going to witness. So kudos to them. Amazing. Great work to them.
The education system, which is like in place right now, what will be the effect on it? Will affect the whole country, right?
Yeah, indeed.
What will be the effects of that?
You mean the
on the
present
future?
education system?
Yeah, our generation or the past
Okay.
2 generations,
Right.
whatever.
The education system that we have gone through, or let's say we are still going through the education system, the education system that the past has actually gone through, or something which we are going through, until the point which this has not changed to the NEP 2020, is all about making a person do all the clerical work. The education system which we are in right now actually makes a person compatible to grow up and get the necessary skills to work for a job. rather to create a job. So that is where
Absolutely.
it's completely going to change. The idea of entrepreneurship, let's say in India, the Silicon Valley of the country, probably Bangalore, is been like it's been like very aggressive on the segments of entrepreneurship, because every single person comes up with an idea. Here comes the thing. Every single person has an idea. It's not that no one doesn't have that idea, but how to make that idea to reality is all where the game lies in. So for that, a child requires an experience. That is exactly what is all in the entrepreneurial segment, which has been planned with the help of on-field work, especially when it comes to the NEP. So there is this particular line where it has the structure as follows: 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So in this 3 plus 4 segment, which is the last segment, that is exactly where it requires a child to go out and have a real on-ground working experience. So because of which, he acquires something which is way beyond. So when it comes to the first segment of the education system, especially the
Pre-primary.
pre-primary or the kindergarten. So during that particular point of time, imagine a classroom where a teacher would come up into the walking into the classroom and imagining and explaining to the students, "Hey students, and imagine an apple. A for apple. A stands for apple." 20% of the class would be able to understand what exactly an apple is, but what about the rest? Nearly 40% of the remaining 80% would be technically looking out for at perception, like, is this apple? He would be having something like an apple and a pineapple because they're technically confusing. I mean, in terms of literally.
Yeah.
So he would be imagining which one is that. So if a teacher pulls out a physical apple, the 40% would really understand, yeah, this is what apple is. And when it comes to the rest 40%, these are those set of people who have really practical minds. These people wouldn't understand what it really means until the point the teacher cuts into pieces and let them taste it. So that's exactly where experience plays a very prominent role. So entrepreneurship is completely about experience, man.
Exactly, man. Experience is all
Totally.
that takes
Totally.
to make the education system better.
Yeah, I believe.
So, what are your views on exams?
Exams.
Like, are they really important?
I believe yes. Yes, of course, they're important. It's not that exams are something. Okay, very simple example. 80% of teenagers have one common subscription, and that is Netflix. So people wouldn't remember to pay for Netflix until the point it just pops out that you are due, like 3 days to go, 2 days to go, 1 day to go. So it is like a warning which it gives before the real thing or the shutdown that is going to happen. So for that, it is like a particular point where it reminds you that you need to pay for this service. It is exactly that. It reminds you that you are paying for this service, so make a maximum use. As per the recent statistics, let's say in a month beginning or in a month ending, the maximum number of people couching to the series or the TV shows happens only at these two particular segments, but not in the middle, because they just feel that Netflix is free of cost. I mean, it's just a perception, as they have paid it on day 1 or in day 30. So during all this point of time, people doesn't feel that their money is going into waste. So that's exactly where at the last part of the month, when it starts to pop up that banner reminding you to pay for that subscription that you have got, that is exactly where the maximum utilization happens. And that is exactly why exams are those which will alert your mind to make you self-realize that this has come to an end. You have to learn it, and the one thing what makes you really learn is exams.
Like, I don't know, man. Like,
Okay, wait a minute.
really,
Yeah.
we should really need to learn, right? That should be our intention, not to pass the exam or to get into the next thing.
Yeah. So that is exactly where the way we take exams has to be changed. Let's say, for example, if it's a physical education exam For that, you need to run around the ground rather just writing it on a piece of paper. We had this real physical examination in my school. So there is this one exam which I felt pointless at that point of time, but later I realized that it made sense. That is exactly where it gives. So the exam is technically about all the measurements and the rules that are to be done, that are to be taken care of, in order to conduct a proper competition. So what I understood is that, number one, physical education, like in a regular period where you run out and play football or something. So that's exactly where it gives you the external experiences, the real hands-on experience. And when you write it on a piece of paper, it gives you, it helps you apply that physicality on a mental scale. So it is something reciprocal to the thing what we really do in real life, where we study for 12, 13, 14, 15 long years in a classroom which is like so captivated. And after that, we apply it. Than that, it is very interesting to know the subject and then you write it on and then you jot it down on a piece of paper.
So you say exams are really important, right? That's what you say.
Exams are important, but not the literal meaning of what exams are in the ideology of millennials is what real exams is. Exam is just something to test your skill. Exam is something which really acts as a motivation factor to push you forward to study. That's it. But not like exams really judge you. One reason why we take exams so serious is that the mark card which we get out of it really is being judged by hundreds of people, just like Sharma ji ka beta. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. So talking about exams,
yeah,
like should we really need exams like MSET, JEE mains? What are your opinions on those exams?
So your question is the 12th exams, like after 12th.
Yeah.
So the where segregation happens to multiple universities or colleges.
Streams. Yeah.
Entrance exams, I believe, yes, but the course on which the entrance has been provided is completely different. Let's say the university which I was in has completely different set of exams when compared to MSET. I did take MSET. So for all those North Indians who doesn't know what MSET is this pointless exam which is given by the state boards for all those universities as a joint entrance test which is applicable for all those colleges which are in a state, in a specified state. Technically, instead of MSET, people take. So I did concentrate upon JEE mains and IIT for sure as like 90% of other outcoming engineers of the country that we are living in. But I believed there have to be a change in the type of exams that have been conducted to the university that we are coming in. Okay, let me make it very simple. Why does a university take a lot of time and exams and this whole process of selecting a particular student? What do you think, Sooraj? Why do you think they take a lot of time?
Just to filter, I guess.
Yeah, why do they filter? They want this final set of people who are like the perfect fit in their university. It's not that you would be useful for them, and also that you would be gaining a lot with the help of the similar like-minded people that you might come across in your class or the university. And later, one day, when people look up to you, that is exactly where they also look behind the thing what is right behind you. That is the college that you have been graduated from. So that's exactly where the college benefits in a bigger picture. Coming to the question back again, if you ask me, are JEEs something to judge upon? No, totally. They are dumb at the moment that we are living in. JEE is an amazing exam. Don't mind me wrong. I have a lot of respect towards the entrance test, especially for IITs and NITs. I really respect them, and I love them literally. But the students who get into those universities were just being marked by just an exam which has just been conducted for 60 minutes, for which a child almost like prepares for like 2 years in cases. He would take an extra year. That is probably the long term. It is way beyond, man. It is way beyond. the dedication that has been put by a child is completely different when it comes to another child. So that's exactly where you can't just judge a person based upon a 3-hour exam. It's not just about the academic skills. It's co-curricular activities which really matter at a core level. And that is exactly reason where the type of exams that the universities have been conducting can be changed, is what all I can say, because it's not that mutations happen with just my word.
Yeah, I would say we take it too seriously. Like they are just a thing.
Yeah.
They mean just.
Why do we
entrance
take it
exam.
seriously? Because of the institutions that we are in. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's talk
exactly.
about the real South Indian situation. What are those? What are those two universities? Not two universities. Two schools.
Col-
Two schools. They're not even. You can't just call them colleges, man. I mean, they are unfit to be named as colleges. The number of people who hate them are more than the population of the country. You know that. It's a joke, but it's practical.
They just created this whole mess. They messed up with this whole generation.
Okay.
Oh man.
So the reason why they did that is that connecting the dots, we can say that the previous education system, as I said before, is all about making a child do all the clerical job, making the child ready to take up a job, rather create an entire diversity of jobs, create an entire segment of jobs. So that is exactly where the parents. I mean, I'm very happy that I really got great parents who support me, and like they totally understand what I meant. So coming to a typical mindset of a parent, it comes to this idea of cracking IT. Let's crack it, just like an academy. But it's not just about cracking IIT. It's about cracking your entire way of living. Like, how do you manage emotions? If a child doesn't know what a real healthy friendly relationship is the point where a child wouldn't know the difference between a good touch and a bad touch. So that is also playing a prominent role in the number of rape situations that are happening right now.
Yeah. So what is your opinion on the teachers that educate us?
Okay, teachers who educate us. One of the primal reasons who made me like really know myself, self-realization process, is all happened because of my teachers. Not just my teachers, every single person who really helped me, especially my parents and my teachers. Like really, they played a very prominent role, my friend. Let's say straight answer,
Right.
200% respect them. I am so happy that I got those amazing teachers who like completely shaped my idea of thinking. Like the entire way of what a subject is and what a point in a geographical destination really means. Let's say it's not just about when it comes to class 11 and 12. There is this one common subject chapter in math, that is the point of locus. Typically, most of the teachers just end up explaining what a locus is, rather the point where it can be applied. I'm so thankful that I got those people who really helped me to get those concepts right in the way they are supposed to be. So that's exactly where teachers are those warriors who shaping the future of the society to a brighter picture.
In this pandemic,
Yeah.
the education system, like it had to adapt, right?
Yeah, totally.
It changed drastically.
Yeah.
So what do you think will be the future of this education system? Like online education,
Okay.
what do you think?
When it comes to the comparison between the real hands-on education and the physical education compared to the online education, we could say that physical education is the best, because that is exactly
I agree.
where you get to listen, you get to look into the eyes of that professor who is teaching you, and the emotion and the modulation and the comfort which the degrees of freedom which have been associated in a real life experience compared to a portal just on a 13, 14, 15 inch screen is totally different. It can never replace, but it can add on. Okay, very simple example. So there is this one particular course which of brand management. It's not like typical course which 90% of all those people who do and write it on their LinkedIn profile, it's not that kind of course which I'm working on. So there's this one particular course that I'm presently taking on since I'm a student. It's called understanding the brand at a core level, creating brands. It's not what really is available outside. So for that, so there is this one particular professor from the United States who was able to take classes for me. Like, I was able to join into their segment. So that's exactly where it gives me a lot of benefit, where I could just simply join and understand those classes rather just traveling all the way from all across the seven seas.
Yeah.
So accessibility is the key to the future of education. So let's say the online education system will be like an add-on, but would never replace the reality that we have faced. I mean, we have experienced in the past before the COVID situation.
Yeah. I completely agree with that, man. Let's get into our next segment. It's
Sure.
called What's the Story?
Okay.
So in this, I'll show you some of your Instagram pictures and you have to tell me what's the story behind that picture.
Sure.
So the first picture, tell me what's the story behind this picture.
Right. Wow. So that picture is like the first ever thing that I got in my class 10. Like after my class 10, so we have this summer vacation, right? During that particular point of time, so there is this book festival which has been conducted in Vijayawada. So for that, so there is this guy called Chandu from Delhi. He came all the way from Delhi to organize events in Vijayawada. He has been like struggling a lot regarding how to conduct and what type of events to be conducted. He's an amazing to the point where he is standing right now, he is one of the best content creators in the country that in India. So at the point back then, so I was just walking by and this guy just pops up and explains me. He was conducting a competition, and then there he was like he was just explaining, and I also expressed him the thought that I had towards the type of situation in Vijayawada. So that is exactly where I got technically my first organizing experience. So the picture which you saw is theoretically the first ever stand-up comedy show. Okay, in Vijayawada, I was a part of Amravati Comedy Club. That is Darha's Prithvi Kaja, who is like a brotherly friend of mine, and he's so amazing that he got me an opportunity later. But then before that, so there is this stand-up comedy show called The V. You can even see in the comments, I guess. I mean, not in the comments, in the description of that photo. So in that, it explains the real reason. I mean, it explains that it is the first ever stand-up comedy show. Like, it's the first time ever where I was criticizing the education system.
What a coincidence, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So the second picture was the story behind this picture.
Yeah. Okay. So in that picture, in the background, you can find the branding of E08. So that is the time where I won my first award as a participant in E08 Fest. Today, I am one of those 3 people who really make E08 Fest at a national level possible. So from the point where it is coherent to a city, to the point where it is now South India's biggest fest, South India's biggest inter-school fest. In the process of making towards it, I'm really happy that I'm one of those participants and later core organizing committee, and probably one of those people who made it possible. And so E08 is a whole different segment, man. It's one of those projects which I have been working on from the last 3 years relentlessly. So this year we are gonna make it India's biggest inter-school fest with more than 10 lakh people. So it's a hint which I gave you, but it's gonna have coming soon. Stay tuned.
Wish you good luck for that, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
So the third picture.
Sure. So as I said, that is the point where I got to the point. This is South India's biggest inter-school fest, you ladies and gentlemen. That was the moment.
Oh wow, you were emceeing that?
Yeah, I was an MC and an organizer.
Great, nice. So finally, our last segment. It's called the rapid fire. You know it. You have to answer very, very quickly. Okay. I have a bunch of questions.
Dude, this sounds
I'll
like a
ask you
Karan
them.
Johar show.
This is like I grew up watching Coffee with Karan. This is like a tribute.
Okay.
All right. The first question: which movie character would you go on a date with and why?
It would clearly be Forrest Gump. I mean, from the movie Forrest Gump, the main protagonist of the story.
Okay. So, which actor do you have a crush on?
Dude, it's not that. Okay, crush is not
Come on,
something
man.
related to love. Okay, let me get this straight. It's not. It's not always like related to love. It's about
Okay.
the affection that you have towards the character that a person has built. So for that, technically, it's Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
Great. If your life was a movie, which movie would it be? What is it?
Interstellar.
I'm sorry.
It's okay,
Interstellar.
yeah.
Great.
So this is one of those official posters where it completely explains the storyline. So I'm a great fan of Christopher Nolan's movies. One is this, and the other one would be Inception. So a dream inside a dream inside a dream.
Wow.
Probably overthinking.
Okay. So, rate yourself as the following on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay?
Okay.
As a musician,
6.
as a YouTuber,
I haven't started, man. I mean, there is this YouTube channel. There are multiple YouTube channels that I have like nearly 6 YouTube channels, out of which one recently caused 100,000 watch hours. So for the business part of it, I would rate myself as 8. And for the YouTube, for the first YouTube channel which I started in class 6, the level of dedication that I've put into and the outcome that I got from it is probably 9. And many more things that are going to come up in the YouTube space of my
Yeah.
perspectives.
right? As a podcaster,
Podcaster. I believe in every single segment there is a point for me to improve, so I would rate myself as 6.
as a son,
As a son. Okay, that's pretty bold. Okay. I would ask my dad and my mom.
okay, great. If you write a book about yourself, what would you name it?
This is it. This is it with Chandan Perla. I have been thinking over a very lot of time.
Oh man, I'll be the first one to buy it.
Thanks, man.
So, what's the most attractive thing about a girl?
Being good.
Sure, man. What's the best and the worst thing about yourself?
No. Okay. I'm good at getting the work done. Let's say, if you give me a task, I will get that done. Like, I would take some more time, but for sure it will be done. Worst thing I met is theoretically the way I prepare for speeches, but I don't really make a script at all. I am bad at mugging up stuff.
Preparing.
So I technically just outburst at that point. So till to the date, to make a record, to make it onto the record, I have never even used a single script.
Oh, wow.
So there are those days where I have recently given a speech for 40 minutes long for another engineering organization in Vijayawada. Not in Vijayawada, it's in Andhra Pradesh. So it's a 40-minute long thing where there are zero question. I mean, there are zero words that I have
Notes.
put even in the name of a script.
That's incredible, man.
Thanks.
So, what's your favorite book?
Favorite book. So when it comes to science, my personal favorite subject, it would be Bill Bryson's. It would be Bill Bryson and almost all of his books. And when it comes to technically the way of influencing, it's all about Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. Gary Vee's book called Crushing It. Probably people might have read it or come across.
So, what's the best thing about the Indian education system?
You are free to criticize it.
Wow. How was it being on my show? That's the last question.
Yeah, it's been a great experience, man. I mean, this is something like just outbursting a few things like which I was trying, but I failed outbursting my thoughts and experiences and emotions on education system. Well, the Sooraj Matta's show, that is the Wannabe Show, I felt right. Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Oh man, finally, thank you so much for being on my show, man. I hope you had fun.
Yes, I did.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications for the coming episodes. Also, please follow Chandan on Instagram and listen to his podcast. I will leave all the links in the description, so please check them out. You can also follow me on Instagram at Sooraj Matta. So please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.